In 2020, I purchased a Seadoo RXP, which has become affectionately known as the Seadon't. Its engine had failed catastrophically, but I was determined to get this machine back on the water again. And now, it's finally time to tell you about everything that's happened to the Seadon't between then and now. The Seadon't was in such good shape cosmetically that I just couldn't envision parting it out. And I did have some parts laying around from other Seadoos that I thought I might be able to piece together into a running engine. So that's exactly what I did. The first test drive, things were going well. It started up and idled beautifully all the way to the end of the no-wake zone. I took off, got on plane easily, but I was being careful, not opening it up all the way because I had to buy a brand new crankshaft, some bearings, and other components, so I wanted to give it a little time to break in before I beat on it too much. And so that choice led to me letting off the throttle very briefly as I took a corner. And the oil pressure regulator jammed in the bore, which led to an oil pressure code and limp mode, but I was unaware of that at the time. So having freshly rebuilt this engine, not knowing if that oil pressure code meant that I was destroying my brand new crank and brand new bearings and all the other parts that I bought, but thankfully it turned out to be a high oil pressure code. The regulator had gotten stuck closed. But I was unaware of that until later, so the ride back to the launch ramp was very nerve-wracking. Right here, you see me, the code's gone off, and I'm pulling off the seat to see if all the oil has come out. This was a stressful point in the Seadont's life. So it was back to the shop. We pulled the engine back out, replaced the regulator spring, ensured that the bore was clean and not scored. Then it was back to the lake. But this time, success. It performs so well, which was no simple feat considering when I got the Seadon't, the engine cases were reamed out from spun bearings. The crankshaft had wiped out a journal. I knew that the oil pumps and housings were probably going to be shot, and I was right. While I was in there, I upgraded the supercharger oiling to the 2008 and up spec, and had to source some other parts here and there, did ARP connecting rod bolts, and little upgrades, nothing to really change the performance of the machine, just to improve the reliability. Now this thing has to be one of the strongest running 215 horsepower Seadoos I have ever been on. And now I know Seadoo's making 325 horsepower skis now, but stock for stock, because the 325 machines have a GPS speed limiter, I really think the Seadon't would give a new RXPX a run for its money. The RXPs of this era were really impressive. 215 horsepower, supercharged, intercooled engines that had closed-loop cooling, adjustable trim. They came standard with a boarding step. Sure, the storage wasn't really that great. It was pretty limited compared to other machines of the era, but with a dry weight of only 790 pounds, this machine really gets moving. The 1494cc engine gets this thing up to a stock top speed of between 65 and 67 miles per hour in a flash. I used a GPS app on my phone just to test how quick this machine really is. As you can see here soon, this thing moves. There's no cavitation. It revs all the way to 8,200 RPM and reaches 66 miles per hour with ease in a very short distance. It's quick. With how good this thing performs in stock form, dollar for dollar, if I had to buy everything, I would have $3,700 into this machine, versus a new 2024 RXP X325 costs $19,499 for just the basic price, whereas the 05 RXP would have been $10,599. I want to know, how fast can I make this machine on the cheap? I've already sourced a few parts to upgrade the Seadon't, including a supercharger from a 255 horsepower machine, some upgraded valve train components, and some miscellaneous other goodies that bring my total cost to just right around $4,000. So the question I must ask, will the Seadon't beat a $20,000 brand new machine that comes with 110 horsepower more for less than a quarter of what that new machine would cost? Or for half what the Seadon't would have cost brand new? And more importantly, is the Seadon't just going to explode if I try to push it that far? Well, you might want to subscribe to the channel if you want to learn about how many spare engines I've got for this thing. Thanks for watching.